So, continuing on this Cartesian and Husserlian and Heideggerian reflections, um, in the context of the last recording, I think there's something that needs to be said further on this distinction, um, which is well thought in some kind of harmonizing with Descartes' thinking on the difference between knowing and understanding. It's misleading to say knowledge of the individual or the particular is only the knowledge of something that's standing in front of us that we can recognize externally. More to the point is that there's quite a few languages, it's also in Latin, seem to have framed this distinction between things where you seem to be totally sure of knowledge, and then things that are a little bit, that are in some way possible to doubt, understanding. So, for example, suppose this example that I think I gave it some time ago of in one of the movies about the artist Ai Weiwei in his compound in China. He has a lot of cats around, and he remarks that one day he saw a cat leap up and use its paw to open a door. So we know that a certain thing that we see is a cat right away, right? We recognize it, that's a cat, it's standing before us. But say we also have this understanding that some cats are able to leap up and open doors with their paws by turning the doorknob. We know that this is a cat, but now this understanding seems to enter into the knowing in some way. The knowing means this immediate apprehension. That's a cat. You know it immediately. There's not even as though it were us doing it. It's clear, right? But isn't a cat the kind of thing that might be able to leap up and use its paw to open a door? Now this new understanding has entered in, and somehow it moves with the knowing, right? So in this exchange, I think we have something a very rich phenomena to think through. But you could think of it in any terms. Somehow, the whole question of how we think about what any object is seems to come in here. You know something's a backpack, but which means it can be used as a backpack, but really it objectively can be used as a backpack. But our understanding that it is a backpack is also there, and perhaps it contains something extra beyond that. But they pour into one another. So I think that's the point of meditation, which is worthwhile going forward. I'm not sure how much room I have on this thing, so other things can be said there, but it makes me think of quite a few problems, including the phenomena interpretation problem, which I think in a way, if we were to say, people fixate because it's closer to our own thinking on the fact interpretation issue, but I think what I just sketched is something to do with that. But you could also call that phenomena and reason, that you have to that all the knowledge you have about information is nothing without the pivotal moment when reason comes in and decides what it's all about. And so there's some relationship to that and the what many languages preserve in this one form or another of the knowledge understanding distinction, which, if you push it, is sort of like the being really sure of something. Like, for instance, so here's an example that's not something standing before us exactly. If I standing before us, we see shadows, but we know if we see a shadow, there must be something causing that shadow. The light is blocked in some way that lets the shadow there. But the thought, even in the abstract, that there can be no shadow without something obstructing the light that leads to the shadow seems to be very solid, and it could be doubted in extremis, but from the normal point of view, that's pretty undoubtable. You don't see any way that could be wrong. It's not like something like just because this happens to be a cat that it's really likely to have this feature. Maybe some cats don't have that feature, or like the acorn example I gave, maybe our understanding of the process of how the cells give commands to the new matter coming in, and the acorn becoming the tree isn't really the way we think it is, and some other process is happening or something. But the thing about the shadow, that it needs to be caused in some way by the light not coming in, seems, it's not that it's a definition, but it's just apodictic to reason itself. So, okay, let's leave it at that for the moment.